Hello everyone, welcome back to another video, and this one we are testing the GeForce RTX 4060 in Assassin's Creed Shadows, and we have the Gigabyte Eagle OC model of the card, and thanks to Ubisoft for providing me access to this game. And here are all the specs of the GPU. We have the latest NVIDIA driver 572.83, which is the game ready driver for Assassin's Creed Shadows. We have GDDR6 from Samsung, 8 gigs, and resizable bar is also enabled inside BIOS. Over here in Task Manager, we have the Intel Core i7-13700KF CPU. For memory, we have 64 gigs DDR5, 6000 megatransfers per second, CL36, and MSI Afterburner. Nothing has been changed. Everything is set to stock settings. So let's get inside the game and check out the frame rates. So here we go, guys. We're gonna start it off with 1080p resolution at first. The game doesn't support full screen exclusive, unfortunately. We're gonna stick to borderless, that's why. And we're gonna use DLSS, also has TAA, FSR, and XESS. And we're gonna utilize DLAA at first, and then use different upscaling modes as well. And also, I wanted to say that I have manually overridden the DLSS version from the NVIDIA app. You can only do it if you have upgraded to the latest NVIDIA driver. So we are using the latest, as you can see, which means we are utilizing DLSS 4. The game also has support for multi-frame gen for 50 series GPUs. And this game also supports frame gen for DLSS and FSR, as I said. So we're gonna keep that off for now. And I've also disabled motion blur and chromatic aberration, like who uses that? And for the advanced graphics settings, we're gonna first use the high graphics settings preset. And for ray tracing, you cannot turn off RT in this game, unfortunately, as much as we hate. But it is what it is. So we're gonna make it hideout only, diffuse hideout only, which means it's gonna only the ray trace global illumination is gonna only occur in hideout area. And for ray tracing quality, we're gonna set it to the lowest, and everything else is set to the high graphics settings preset pretty much. So let's apply this and restart our game quickly. So here it is, guys, at 1080p with high graphics settings with ray tracing set to low. And this is like the starting hideout area, not the starting area, but where we started basically. Is the hideout area where there is RTGI enabled by default. You cannot turn it off here. So FPS will be slightly less in this area compared to when we go outside. So let's start counting the FPS over here real quick. And we are getting like mid 40s over here. It will probably drop around high 30s also, I am guessing. And yeah, it barely dropped there to 40. It will occasionally probably touch 30, but it might happen in this hideout area only. So we're gonna get out and then check out the performance, how it is from the outside. There we go, 37 FPS, not good. But the vegetation in this game, it looks phenomenal. I really like it, the greenery, the grass and trees. Everything looks so pretty good. So here we go, we are outside the hideout now. Hopefully we will get a bit of higher FPS from now. Maybe around 50 FPS we can achieve. Come on. Can we get 50 FPS? 49, yeah, there we go. 50, just touched 50 there for a while. And it dropped again. And yeah, the game looks decent at high settings, but nowhere close to like with ultra graphics, like ultra high graphics. It looks just phenomenal, like quite a different game, to be honest, if you use the maximum graphics settings in this game. But high on the other, it looks decent, not bad. There's a lot of grass, as you can see, with high. But one thing I have noticed, if you switch to medium settings, which we will do in a moment, there's a lot less grass and vegetation, and there's a lot more pop-ins in the bushes and grasses, more shadow pop-ins as well if you use the medium settings. That's where the drawback is actually. And it also sets the texture quality to low when using medium. So averaging around 49, guys, 48. Can't even touch 50 FPS unfortunately with the high settings with low RT. So up next, I'm only gonna enable Qlty DLSS on top of 1080p resolution, and we're not going to use frame generation. And for settings, we are still using the high graphics preset settings, and ray tracing quality is set to low, and everything else is set to their preset according to high. So here we go, we are in the hideout area once again. Now we are getting 50 plus FPS, which is quite good. But when you use Qlty DLSS or any DLSS preset, the image becomes a lot more softer, even with DLSS 4. And especially the grass in this game, the vegetation, the bushes, they look way more softer than they actually should. And they become blurry when you actually move through them or walk or run through them. They'll become a lot more blurry. You won't be able to notice that on YouTube, but you will probably need to play the game to experience that. You know what I mean. But still, DLSS 4 does a decent job, and it looks quite close to native in my opinion with Qlty DLSS. And the worst offender is the hair, the hair on the character. It looks very, very soft when using DLSS. They should improve that, I guess. So let's get out of the hideout real quick. We are getting 54 average out here. And we have ray trace global illumination in this area. That's why the FPS might be a bit low. Let's get outside and check it out. So we are outside the hideout now. Let's start counting the FPS once again, refreshing the counters. And hopefully we can get 60 FPS average outside. Let's have a look. So as I was gonna say, guys, that in my previous two benchmark videos and even in my live streams, I have said that this game is really optimized. And when I say optimized, personally, this is what I'm saying in my personal, it's my personal opinion, that when I say a game is optimized, I mean by the frame time and the 1% lows. That's what mostly matters to me in a game. That's personal opinion, by the way. Once again, you don't have to bash at me for that. But that's just my personal take, that a game needs to have a smoother frame time and a good 1% low to make it playable, no matter what the FPS is. Obviously, it should be a playable frame rate, like around, I consider that to be around 45 in a game like this, 45, 50. And if the frame time is pretty good, smooth frame time like we are getting right now, it becomes quite playable. And that's how games are at in consoles, you know. Consoles give you like 40 FPS, 45, 50 FPS, but they maintain a smooth frame rate. And that is why it feels smoother when you play on consoles, even with 45 FPS, because they are able to maintain that frame rate for a longer period of time, unlike many other PC games, like, for example, Stalker 2. You will see constant stuttering in that game. It gives you a decent frame rate though in that game, but even if you get 100 FPS in that game, it is not a smooth experience in my opinion. So FPS is not always the thing you should be looking for, the average FPS or what you are getting in a current scene. Like right now we are getting 59 average, but look at that 1% low, it's 47. It's much more closer to the average, which means you are noticing way less stutters in this game. Look at the 0.1, that is even 42. It tells you how smooth this game is running. It's maintaining that 47, 42 FPS for a longer period of time. And that is what many people do not understand. But I get it what you mean. Like, obviously the FPS is kind of low for a high setting. And I don't know why am I running around here. I just want to say this to you because many people are saying that to me in my videos, that why did I call this game optimized. But I understand what you mean. The FPS is really low. It should have been better. Like, at least it should have given us 80 FPS with high graphics settings. When ray tracing, we are setting it to low. But that's the thing, right? The game forces you RT, and you can't do anything about it. So probably that's why we are getting low FPS here. I am pretty sure if you could turn off RT in this game, we would get 100 FPS in these settings at 1080p. No questions, probably even more than 100. Just like in Valhalla, AC Mirage we could get, because there was no RT settings. And I hope I cleared your questions like why I call this game optimized. It's just my personal opinion that I like a game to be more smooth in terms of frame time. But I understand what you said. Like FPS should have been more. I get it. In that perspective, it is quite unoptimized. So talking about the benchmark right now, as you can see, we are getting that average 60 FPS nicely. But as I said, when you walk through the vegetation, trees and plants and grass, it kind of looks blurry, honestly, with DLSS set to quality or any other mode. It's gonna look worse, obviously, if you drop it down. But you can actually play it this way. It's nothing unplayable. And I would much rather use high settings than medium preset, because we're gonna check that out in a moment soon. Okay guys, we are gonna utilize some frame generation now, but before that I'm gonna turn this quality, upscaling quality to native AA, which is DLAA, and now we're gonna enable DLSS frame generation. I'm not gonna use frame generation on top of DLSS quality. Just apply this. And for the settings, we are still utilizing the high graphics settings preset, and ray tracing is set to low. And I'm going to restart the game quickly as well. So here we are, guys, with frame generation enabled on top of DLAA. And as you can see, we're getting 80 plus. And I am playing with a controller, by the way. And the reason why I didn't use frame generation on top of DLSS quality, because DLSS quality already makes the image a lot worse. Like, it makes it way bloody, the vegetation especially. That's why I'm not using it. And since we are getting close to like 50 to 60 FPS all the time, or most of the time, with DLAA, that's why I used frame generation on top of that, because the base FPS was close to 60. And obviously with the controller, you are less likely to notice that input latency. Like, I can't really notice it. As long as the FPS stays above 80, you won't be able to notice it with a controller. Maybe with a mouse we might be able to. Let me try that. Yeah, it's a bit worse with the mouse, obviously, and you might notice it. It is a bit worse, obviously. So if you are gonna play this game with a controller, which is this game really should be played with a controller, in my opinion. It really works great with it. So we are getting that smoothness of 70 FPS or 80 FPS, but input latency is obviously noticeable. But I can play it this way. Even with mouse, you might get used to this, because this is a single player title after all, and you shouldn't have trouble playing with this much of an input latency. And the hair looks decent now, since we have turned off DLSS quality. With frame generation, I can't really notice that many artifacts whatsoever. It's pretty good, the implementation. It is quite playable like this. But again, a game running at 1080p with high settings shouldn't need to use frame generation to achieve 60 plus FPS. That really sucks, in my opinion. In that terms, it's really unoptimized, I would say. But again, it maintains that smoothness, and personally, I really like that from this game. So up next, we're gonna switch to medium preset, and which the game actually recommends us by default when using this GPU for the first time. And we're gonna set ray tracing to low, which is by default set to low, and a hideout only for RTGI when using the medium settings. And texture pool gets set to low, so textures are gonna look a bit bad, unfortunately. But let's try this out. I'm gonna apply and restart the game real quick and come back. So here it is, guys, with medium settings preset using DLAA in the hideout area. Obviously getting less. Okay, there were grass here, tad bit of grass using high preset, but it's gone with a medium preset now. It obviously kills the vegetation, as I've told you already. And there's a lot less grass when using the medium settings. And a lot more pop-ins, shadow pop-ins you will notice, and more grass pop-ins. And textures also kind of look bad when using the medium settings. And over here we're getting the 50 FPS, a little bit less when using Qlty DLSS on top of high settings. Let's refresh the counters real quick. Probably will be able to get 60 FPS easily now, average at least, with these medium settings. Where is our horse? Let's go this side and have a look. I know there is going to be an ambush across this bridge. There they are. I'll just ignore them. Oh my goodness. I hate this horse in this game. It's kind of difficult to control than the previous games. They should probably work on that and fix it. And the game is really light on the CPU side. But yeah, visually it looks a lot bad now from the high settings. As you can see, a lot of grass pop-ins. Look at there, over there. Those rocks and texture pop-ins happening constantly. It just kills all the immersion. I would much rather stick with high settings in this game. There's no point in trying medium. For a game like this, for a single player game, which looks visually great, if you turn the settings up, obviously, I won't compromise the visuals. Moving on, I'm going to enable Qlty DLSS on top of the medium settings preset. No frame generation right now. Ray tracing is set to their lowest. So as you can see, guys, we're getting like close to 70 now. 69 there, sweet. And it looks even worse now with DLSS quality. A lot more blurriness in the vegetation. And when I move around, the hair becomes I don't know. it is so soft. And way more pop-ins in medium and on high. What's that? Wanna fight? Huh? Wanna fight? Okay, I'll give you a fight then. You asked for it, buddy. Okay, they got more. Lots of company down here. Oh my god. You know what? Bye bye. There's way too many. See ya. It's my horse. Where are you, buddy? Need to get out of here. And the water looks decent, even on medium. It definitely looked better on high. And look at that 1% low, that's what I'm saying about this game. And even the 0.1%, it shouldn't be that high, but it is indeed at 60, I can't believe. It is a buttery smooth experience in terms of smoothness. What is that? Oh my goodness. Now you can notice probably the bloodiness in the grass. I don't know, probably YouTube compression is gonna kill it, but it is crap. I don't like it. We're getting 74 average. It is quite playable like this if you want a bit higher FPS. But again, I would say stick to high graphics preset, guys. That's how you should be playing this game on these GPUs. Okay guys, for the final 1080p settings, I'm going to test this with DLAA turned on and frame generation set to DLSS. And we're going to use the medium quality preset settings with RT set to low. So let's check this out. So here we go. Oh my goodness, what is that? Look at those flowers. There is no texture on them. They're very bloody. Obviously, medium preset sets the textures to low. That's why we can see that. Pretty crap in my opinion, and you will see all that grass popping. Look at that. So yeah, with frame generation we can get 100 plus FPS most of the time, I'm guessing, pretty much. And input latency, I can't feel it with the controller. I couldn't feel it when we were getting 80 plus FPS already using the high graphics preset settings. But with the mouse also, let me check it out. Yeah, it's not there. It's not present. It's absolutely fine even with the mouse with 100 FPS. It is there. It's very negligible when you're getting 100 FPS with FG turned on, of course. And 1% lows are kind of low right now because we are using FG. When you turn on FG, there is a bit more lag and stutter in this game, unlike when you turn it off. But I don't think you should be playing it with these settings, guys, because the visuals don't really look nice. Who is this giant man? He isn't even attacking us. Funny enough. Okay, it finally attacked me. Let's take him down, okay? I need to switch to my sword, I guess. There we go. This guy's shooting arrows at me. Whoa! Oh, wow. He was quite fast in that. So as I'm saying, guys, you shouldn't be playing like this. Play with high graphics settings, at least for this game. That looks much better. And maybe if you don't want to use FG, you can lock your FPS using Riva Tuner and play it that way also. But I cannot recommend this. There's no point of this high FPS in a game like this with the bad visual quality. Okay, now it's gonna be the real struggle to test this GPU because we're gonna move on to 1440p resolution and using DLAA at first and turn off frame gen, and we're gonna use the high graphics settings first and check that out. And ray tracing, I'll set it to low, and RTGI is set to hideout only. And let's apply this, and I'm gonna quickly restart the game as well. So here we go, guys, in the hideout area in 1440p res with high graphics settings preset. We are dropping below 30, and look at that. As I said, there were grass and high settings preset, unlike in medium. There's a huge drop actually in terms of visuals from moving from high to medium, but the FPS jump is not that high. It should have been, and in terms of that, they should really improve the FPS, I guess, with updates. I mean the performance when you use medium settings. And we are getting 30 FPS and even below that, so can't really help it. I don't think there's any point in testing high graphics preset at 1440p with this GPU. Even with DLSS, it won't be playable. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna leave it to DLAA in 1440p, and I'm only gonna change the preset to medium, which sets RT to low and RTGI to diffuse hideout only. Everything else is set to the medium preset settings. So let's apply this and check it out. And as you can see, all that grass is gone. There's like a tad bit here and there. Looks crap. But we got like 10 FPS boost there, 9, 10. From high to medium. And we might be able to play it like this. You can play it this way. It is quite playable with 40 FPS, as I said, because of the stable frame time in this game. And I'm gonna get out of here. Look at all that pop-ins. My goodness. Hope you notice those. That's why I don't like the medium settings in this game. Let's get out of here and check out the actual frame rate when RTGI is actually turned off outside the hideout. Let's refresh the counters. Hopefully we can get 50 FPS or close to that. Would be nice, so we can enable frame generation on top of DLAA if that's the case. Let's call our horsey. Let's go, buddy. Why is there so much fog right now? And no, we are not even getting close to 50 FPS. Unfortunately, there's a lot of fog right now. Bad timing for benchmarking. But I can't control that. It's pretty dynamic. And even in the open fields, as you can see, we are like stuck to 43 average, nowhere close to 50. So the only way we can get higher FPS is using DLSS FG on top of Qlty DLSS, I'm guessing. We're gonna try that in a moment. And even at 1440p, the 1% lows are quite good. As you can see, 40. The average is 43, which tells you it's running pretty smooth. So we have to use some DLSS quality to get close to 60 FPS. And maybe after this we have to use FG on top of that. And settings are set to medium as well. Let's check this out. And I am at the hideout once again, and now we can touch that 50 FPS. So probably outside the hideout we will be able to achieve close to 60 FPS if I'm not wrong. And there's that bloody grass again when I'm running through it. I just don't like it. But yeah, the game looks night and day difference from high or medium settings to maxed out graphics settings with RTGI, especially if you watch Digital Foundry's video. This game was actually made with RTGI in mind from ground up. It looks stunningly beautiful with RTGI enabled everywhere. And yeah, we can get close to 60, luckily. And this time it's raining, not fog. Yeah, there is fog as well with rain. Pretty dynamic weather this game has. I like it. So 59, 60. There we go. 60 FPS. So we can easily use frame generation on top of this and get a good playable frame rate, and probably the latency won't be noticeable as well with a controller. And I strongly recommend you use a controller in this game if you have a low-end GPU like this or a mid-end GPU. If you are gonna use frame generation, obviously. And on side of VRAM though, this game doesn't demand much of a VRAM, as you can see, even though we are using low textures. But even with my 4070 Ti Super I have tested at 4K, it doesn't go over 11 gigs of allocated VRAM with everything maxed out. So in that sense, it's pretty good. So for the final 1440p settings, guys, I'm going to test this with the DLSS set to quality and frame generation turned on as well. And we are using the medium overall preset settings, and ray tracing is set to low. Let's check this out. So here we go. In the hideout area, we're getting 80 plus FPS easily. That's exactly what we need to get the negligible input latency with the controller. Keep that in mind. I'm not saying mouse. So with mouse, you will be able to feel it pretty much unless you get 100 FPS. And this is quite good, playable, I would say. So if you have a 1440p panel, you want to play at 1440p res, you can play it this way. There's no other way. You can actually get high FPS, and FPS will obviously increase as we leave the hideout. Looking from here, we're getting 85, 83. Let's leave the area. It will probably increase to 90. So we are outside the hideout. Let's refresh the counters there. And whenever you turn on FG in this game, the 1% lows are slightly bad than native res or without using FG. And we were close to touching 90, did touch there 90. And look at that, there's no grass there, absolutely. Everything looks pretty dull. But the draw distance is still maintained in this game, even with medium settings, which is quite nice. Because there's a lot of mountains you will see with vegetation, trees and everything. I like the draw distance in this game. And we're getting close to 90 FPS. Look at all that popping of grass. Not nice. And I don't know if I should be testing 4K with this GPU. It will barely make it alive without it. DLSS performance most likely. It's gonna be a torture. We're still gonna try it. For any of you, those who have a 4K monitor and want to play the game with your 4060, we're gonna try it for those people. Let me know if you have a 4K monitor with a 4060. Okay guys, finally we're gonna switch to 4K resolution. It's gonna be a torture. So let's do that, and we're gonna set to native DLAA. And frame generation, we're gonna turn it off for now. Like this. And I'll obviously have to restart the game, and I'm going to use the medium settings preset, and everything else is set to their medium settings, and RT is set to low. So let's restart the game quickly. So here it is guys, at 4K resolution native DLAA. We're getting 20s. It will probably even drop below 20 at some point. And I don't know how you can play like this. But yeah, the 4K res makes it really good. The game looks pretty decent with medium settings also at 4K. But yeah, this is there's no point of testing this out. Let's change some settings already. So we're gonna try this with the DLSS set to performance. No point of trying quality as well. Since we have DLSS 4, performance should be pretty good. And everything is set to medium settings. We won't try low preset because that looks pretty horrible. And there we go. Finally some playable FPS of 40s, 42. And now it's quite playable, I would say, especially because the 1% lows are pretty high. As you can see, even the 0.1 is same as 1% low. That is quite unbelievable. You don't get to see those in modern games. This is quite smooth, but again that fog is killing my benchmark, but I don't have any control over that. So I just loaded in another autosave just to change the weather. And as you can see at 4K DLSS performance, the grass looks even worse. It is even more softer, even though you have a sharpness slider which you can utilize to make it a little bit more sharp image. That's from the settings. But yeah, when running through the grass and trees and bushes, it's even worse than DLSS quality. I don't like this, but it's still at 4K. It's not so noticeable like it was at 1080p. Or 1440p, for example. So yeah, let's try some frame generation. It won't be nice, I know. And all that textures, they don't look too nice either. Okay guys, for final test, we're gonna do is 4K with DLSS set to performance, and we're gonna use DLSS frame generation on top of medium graphics preset, ray tracing set to low, and everything else, as you can see, set to medium preset settings. We're gonna restart the game real quick. So here we go guys at 4K with frame gen, medium, and DLSS performance. Can't notice any artifacting though, but it is not good. Even with the controller, there's a lot of delay because our base FPS was below 50. This is not nice, but this is something you can get used to over time, I would say, if you have a low-end GPU like this, entry-level card. You can get used to it over time by playing the game for a longer period of time, but it's not something I would recommend strongly. Look at that flickering on the water. Lots of vegetation pop-ins, but yeah, it looks nice because of 4K though. With the mouse, let me check this out. Yeah, this is horrible with the mouse. It is absolutely unbearable. So anyways guys, that's it gonna be for this video. And I hope I addressed your concern regarding why I call this game optimized in my previous two videos and in my live streams. It is just that this game runs pretty smooth. It maintains that constant frame rate which you get over time for a longer period of time than many other recent games. It's just my personal opinion once again that I like to have a smoother experience with low frame rate. If the frame rate is low, obviously I would like to have higher frame rates. I don't mind that obviously, but yeah, I get what you are trying to say. The frame rate should have been higher for a graphics like this. It's nothing like extraordinary for sure, but yeah, if you max out the game with RTGI and everything, it totally looks like a different game altogether, but which is not possible on our mid-end or low-end GPUs. Even the 5090 struggles. So forget about that. But yeah, I hope they optimize the performance over time. In that sense, it is definitely unoptimized, but I haven't recently seen any game which maintains a stable frame time over time. I have been saying this numerous times throughout my videos. I really like that perspective of this game. I hope you understand that. So yeah, that will be it. Do leave a like and subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you on the next one. Till then, take care and bye bye.